Visión comunal, en contacto con las comunidades.
Venezuela in the news. News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Headlines. Flight of capital affects the Venezuelan economy. Government sets out a strategy to strengthen food supply. The National Electoral Council will announce if the opposition has collected the signatures for a recall referendum. Minister of Foreign Trade and Foreign Investment, Vzla, announced that the capital flight from Venezuela to other countries is between $300 billion and $500 billion. The amount places Venezuela among the most affected countries in Latin America, according to a study carried out by the Tax Justice Network of Latin America and the Caribbean. Venezuela surpassed Panama and Argentina, currently positioned in the second and third place. Some experts indicate that Miami is the main receptor city of this financial capital of the Venezuelan enterprises. In his book, La Guerra contra el Pueblo, in English, The War Against the People, Venezuelan economist Tony Bosa explained that the capital flight to other countries, in absolute terms, must be by the order of $508 billion, surely deposited in Miami. Minister of Foreign Trade and Foreign Investment, Vzla, denounced that the Venezuelan enterprisers maintain the highest rate of profit in the world. According to Farias, the speculative pressure is one of the main causes of inflation in Venezuela. Farias detailed that 70% of the country's economy is in hands of the private companies. In this regard, he indicated that the non-conventional exports will generate for Venezuela the foreign currency needed to stabilize the situation in the country. For this reason, the Venezuelan government has developed a series of policies to encourage the local companies. Minister Farias highlighted the need to acquire foreign currency for crucial imports. Rum, cocoa, and granite are three of the main non-traditional exportable goods that Venezuela offers. Foreign Affairs Ministry of Colombia affirmed yesterday that in a few days, the Venezuelan and Colombian governments will open the common border crossings for the people of both countries to transit in both directions. The Venezuelan government affirms that the border with Colombia will be open when the security conditions are set. Both countries agreed not to allow for now occasional access through the Simón Bolívar Bridge and the Francisco de Paula Santander Bridge. The work tables in north of Santander, Arauca, and La Guajira act promptly to finish the route planning for an organized, legal, and effective border. There will be a meeting between the Colombian and Venezuelan Ministers of Foreign Affairs, María Ángela Holguín and Delcy Rodríguez, next August 4th.
Venezuela in the news.
Previous to the activation of a recall referendum for 2017, the National Electoral Council will determine starting today if the opposition complied with the requirements set by the law to complete the first stage. The National Electoral Board finished the process of verification of 1.3 million signatures and will announce to the country if the opposition legally completed 1% of the permanent electoral registry. In the second stage, the opposition must collect nearly 4 million signatures, corresponding to 20% of the permanent electoral registry. President of the Electoral Board, Tibisay Lucena, alerted that the required amount has still not been met. Spokesman of the government's high political command, Jorge Rodríguez, announced yesterday that it will be impossible to have a recall referendum this year. Rodríguez expressed that during the first stage of the request, the opposition engaged in a fraud that erased every possibility to carry out the recall referendum. The opposition engaged in a fraud that erased every possibility to carry out the recall referendum. Rodríguez explained, quote, there are 605,000 invalid registries and more than 8,600 cases that will have to be judicially resolved before this referendum. Rodríguez labeled as, quote, the biggest fraud, the gathering of signatures by the opposition, which will now have to wait for what the National Electoral Council decides.
News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Headline: Flight of capital affects the Venezuelan economy. Government sets out a strategy to strengthen food supply. The National Electoral Council will announce if the opposition has collected the signatures for a recall referendum.
Venezuela in the news. News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Visión comunal, en contacto con las comunidades.